Okay, so now I'll go, I have a couple of slides each on individual best practices. This is one on templates and why they're relevant. I'm not going to read them all, except to point out a couple of things. Big one at first, maybe this should have been the first bullet, is create a template for your organization that contains all your organizational boilerplate, the stuff that really never changes about your organization. And then what you need to, how you need to think about it is that over the years, your organization doesn't just do one thing. It probably does one project and then another project and then another project. So at the beginning of a new project, customize your template for that project. Say that, say the project is that we got a grant from NOAA to work on coastal marine estuarine data. That a blurb, probably from your grant application or something like that, that concisely explains that project should probably be in your metadata record somewhere so that people have a context for any data set that comes out of that project. So if you think about project planning that way, or at the beginning of a project you generate a template, then at the end of the project you've hopefully filled the template in, then yeah, you are kind of capitalizing on earlier works, these earlier templates, and hopefully make your end of project documentation wrap up all that much more easy. For those of you that are ArcGIS users, our catalog has the facility to ingest custom templates and then prompt you to fill in your own template that you designed, so you don't have to be bothered by all the things that might be in the default ArcGIS templates that ship with the software. And it works pretty much like any other templating system that might exist in other software environments like Microsoft Word or anything that involves templates. And the main takeaway point is that by using templates, the energy you have for any one particular project or any one particular data set can be spent on the things that are unique to that data set. You don't have to waste a lot of energy on sort of the burden of anything else that's sort of Chrome. If that makes any sense. So another metadata best practice, in particular for focusing in on best practices for good discovery, is that there are certain items in metadata content that are critical in most search systems. They generally break out into these three groups: identification information, location information, and other kinds of descriptor information. And I assembled this list actually for dealing with data in Oregon. This is a compound list from what the WCAG wants from us, from what the Oregon Spatial Data Library wants from us, and what data.gov says they want. And if I were to point out the differences, I think WCAG concentrates on this end of the list, and our Spatial Data Library folks, they focus down. They take all this plus some more. So if you do nothing else within your metadata, your geospatial metadata, try to do most of these things well. You might not be joining all three of the organizations I mentioned, but whatever group that you network with will probably have some subset of these as preferences. So for people who do use ArcGIS, I've broken out these three areas onto some screen grabs just to show you where they occur in the software. So this is the identification information group, and for people who have looked at metadata in ArcGIS 10, these things all occur in the metadata record in various places. So if you're editing a metadata template in ArcGIS.com and you've got useful information in these 5 or 6 places, then you've done this part of the metadata record well. Similarly, for the location information, it's bounding coordinate information and browse graphic information is all in there. You just sort of need to pay attention to which fields are filled in. I'll point out that this record, which is a screen grab from the Spatial Data Library, is not super useful because it's got the whole world bounding box. And it's, you know, it probably should be a bounding box for the Oregon code. Although it doesn't say what record it is, so. It's more, bounding boxes are more helpful if they just go around your data. And then for the descriptor information, it's a similar kind of thing. ISO metadata requires thematic keywords, and they actually come with lists of keywords that you should choose from. And so in ArcGIS, which was set up with knowledge of ISO when they built the 10.x templates, they kind of have it in there as if it was mandatory for you too. And so it's a good idea. Even the FGD, CSDGM folks say, well, if you can identify one of these broad thematic areas that your data applies to, that's great because it'll future-proof your data against other systems that will evolve in the future. So pick thematic keywords, but it doesn't only have to be ISO keywords. Your organization might be a member of other networks that have their own sets of keywords, and it's important to use keywords from your community if it will help people from your community find your data using those keywords, if that makes any sense. So the state of Oregon has a keyword thesaurus of topic keywords that they like to use, and if you have such a thing, you can register those thesauruses in your metadata tools so that they're just the vocabulary words become drop downs that you can just pick from, or checkboxes that you can pick from. Same thing. Another key thing hidden in the ARC catalog, the depths of the ARC catalog interface is where to put things like the downloadable links or the service links. I don't think this is very well advertised at all, and it's kind of a key link because it's one of the links that everybody looks for, where to get the data. And it's kind of a two-step process. First, you have to tell it that it's either downloadable data or an application service, and then you have to put in a URL. So that's one to pay attention to.